Hello to all my sales professionals. This is your coach, Joe Pinero, bringing you the tip of the day. Always sharpening your skills, making your presentation better. Remember, think and grow rich. We all know that book. I'm just going to save you the $20. Think and grow rich, right? Look at your presentation, what it is and what it does to the people, and always taking your game to the next level. Always getting better. Remember, in sales, it's an everyday thing. It's like an athlete, right? So I want to talk about a topic, and I'm directing most of it, to my timeshare family, right? Remember, I spent many years in timeshare. I keep it right here close to me. And in the timeshare sales, right, we have a little something. And by the way, in any sales exists, but more in the timeshare world. And it's the breaking the pact. You probably heard that term. Listen, you got to break the pact. You got to break the pact. Well, I have my own opinion about that. And yes, we're going to break the pact, but it's how we break the pact and where you break the pact. I have a little phrase that I learned many years ago, right? Timing is 90% of genius. So it's not having that tool, it's knowing when to apply the tool so it can be most effective. Okay? Remember, there's no new words in sales, so I'm not saying nothing new here, but where and how you do it makes a huge difference. Okay? So, for example, you know, when you do your presentation, I'm going to believe that you have a well-designed, thought-out presentation, right? With creating the trust, right? Creating the need, your discovery, all of that stuff, right? And of course, showing how your product works and creating urgency around the property, and of course, at the end, dealing with the money. But before you can break the pact, let's think about that for a second. You have to acknowledge the pact. And what happens is that most people that come to a presentation, right, especially in the timeshare world, and in any place, they do some kind of agreement of not buying anything or not giving in, right? If we're gonna go, be careful, honey. Listen, you know it is. By the way, I'm gonna handle it. You handle it. You know that what I'm talking about. I'm trying to be brief here. But so they do some kind of agreement of not wanting to buy anything or not being too open because they don't want to get you excited. However, we are professional salesmen. We know that happens. I hope you do. That happens all the time. By the way, remember, you have a PhD on buying. So when you go into a presentation or some kind of presentation, right, or a store, you do some kind of agreement if you think that, you know, you feel that that's going to help you get away from the, you know, being involved. But anyways, you get the point. So we have something called acknowledge the pact. And when you acknowledge the pact, you not only are highlighting that particular pact, but you're letting them know that you know. So your professional levels goes up. So let's say that you said your hello, let's say your warm up, you did all of that, you did your credibility, and now you're moving into your discovery, and now you go into your rent versus own, or your graphic presentation, or your pencil pitch, right? That's where you're going to show the benefits of the program, maybe financially more than anything, right? And finally, they start seeing, right, that this makes some kind of sense, because it needs to make sense to them, not to you, all right? And guess what? Once it starts making sense, you are moving forward to start selling your product directly. But before you do that, we do acknowledge the pact. And we let them know, listen, John and Mary, right? Peter and Maria, listen, we know that most people do some kind of agreement when they come to one of these presentations. And it's understandable, all right? They say to each other, listen, it doesn't matter how great, how awesome, how beneficial, how advantage, you know, all the advantage you can take. We're not buying anything. So we're just going to go in there and do our thing and let's get out, okay? And that's okay. We understand people do that because they don't realize what's going on. All I'm asking, and I'm giving you a short version, right? All I'm asking, Mr. John and Mary, is for you to take a look at what we got. And if you see something that might benefit you and your family, don't let a little agreement that you probably made get in the way. In other words, say no for the right reasons. Let me just show you what it is. Guess what? That brings the guard a little bit lower. They're going to say, oh my God, you know, yes, we did. They're not going to say it to you, but they're going to look at each other with a little elbow or something. But I know for a fact that they did. I know for a fact. And by the way, let's say they didn't. I'm going to still act like they did because I know it's healthy for you to do that. They start thinking about the situation they're in that moment after you hook them. After you show them the benefits financially, especially, right, of that, so they're going to say, hold a second, this makes a little bit of sense. Let me, you know, he's right. Let me look at what they got. Again, it's okay to say no. Remember, ooh, that's big, right? Because we don't have to be yeses. I like the no's. I'm a professional salesman. So once you do the acknowledge the pact, you are in the way, on the way to later on break the pact. Now my question to you is this. When I hear salespeople say, listen, you need to break the pact, or the managers tell them, right? Who did the pact? They did it. So if they did it, how you can break it? You can guide them to break it, but they break it. If they made the pact, if they did, they break it. You might lead them to. You might put information in there that it comes to a point that you're going to ask a question to put them in a position to break that pact. But you cannot break it as a salesman, right? Because, I mean, you didn't do the pact with them. But you can take them, you can lead them there, you can guide them to there. So as you go to your presentation on the property, right, everybody showing the features and benefits and all of this, put them in the picture. If you had it, how you use it. And they're going to say, oh, I will do this, I will do that. You exchange, the referrals, the pool, bringing family, the model. Boom. All of that urgency is in there, right? So now you go to the model and they go the cherry on top and they go, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. You do your little room here, right? You do your little rent over there and what you would do and where you would go and visualize, imagine all this stuff that we do in the model. But at the end, I recommend that you sit them down in the living room. At the end, once you're almost done, and let them breathe. When people sit down in that chair, in that love seat, in that living room, and you sit down with them, and now you make them take a look, and you say, listen, you obviously have told me that you can use this. You can tell me you can travel. You want to give the best to your family. All these positive things that you have gotten by asking a simple question to them, right? Always get the answer. And say, listen, I'm going to give you 2 minutes here for you to talk to each other, to decide if you want to provide this to each other. Because a lot of people say no for the wrong reasons, right? They came in, they did that agreement, and they don't realize. Now that you have the information, now that you have seen everything, and you have shared with me that this makes total sense to you, okay? And then it makes sense why we have those many owners and why we keep building resorts and why in the world, this business is booming. I want you to take a moment and give permission to each other to say yes. You see? Now you are kind of guiding them to that, right? They have all the information in their head, hopefully in the right sequence. Hopefully you have created the urgency. Hopefully you have created the need, the problem, and all of that. And now you're putting them to go back to that pact. Don't let that little agreement, I don't know if you made it or not, most people do. But think about what you're going to miss if you stay stuck with that. Show them what they have. Show them what they can have. People always want better. They want the better things for the future. And now they're thinking, you know what, honey, when you leave them alone, guess what? She's going to say, listen, he's right. I love this. I love that. I love this. I will take advantage of that. Yes, we did say that. You can do this. I mean, they're going to get in it. And finally, guess what's going to happen? Well, listen, let's look at the numbers. If the numbers are good, let's see what he got. But see, now it's not, the pacts start being broken slowly. Now they're open to see how much. And if it makes financial sense, it should be a what? Of course. Yes, I want to be part of this. If you did your job. So again, we are breaking the pact in a slow way. Now, don't get me wrong. When you show prices, when you show the alternative, you have different programs for different people. That continues to keep breaking because they go, well, I thought it was this much. It's not. Now is affordable. Now, what is our reason to say no when we already have said around, the presentation that this makes sense to us and we will go here. It will be difficult for them to say no unless you mess it up, right? So again, acknowledge the pact, do your presentation correctly, then you can try to put them in a position of breaking the pact. They do it on their own with your guidance. This is what I want you to talk about in these 2 minutes that you're sitting here. Remember, you said this here, you will put your kids over there, you will do that, you will say this, you will go here, you will have great times, you're healthy, your mind, all these things. So give permission to each other. Don't let a little agreement. Nothing good happens when you say no. You're missing out on things. Now here, there's no risk. That's your job, right? To eliminate the risk. It's going to cost you. Nobody said it's cheap. But you know what? Do you deserve it? That's why you work hard. That's why you do all these things. And we're not trying to manipulate. We're trying to influence. Because we know, at least I know in the heart of hearts, that this product is a lot better than what they're doing. It's just that sometimes people become a little closed-minded, and we slowly need to be opening their mind, realizing things, getting them curious until they see, oh my God, where you been? I should have known about this. So my fellow salespeople, listen, you cannot break the pact, but you can guide them to break the pact. Give them those moments in that model right there so they know what they're saying no to. Guess what? They're going to come out a little bit more positive with you and open to see what? The prices, your different programs. Listen, I got for people that vacation a week or 2 weeks, people for 2 people, for 4 people, for 20 people. We got different prices for different people. And they got to be open for that. And of course, your closing question. If this makes financial sense to you and it's affordable, will you buy it what? Today. See, now the pact is kind of gone. There's always a little residual that you continue working on, but most of it is gone. So my sales professional, this is Joe Pinero. Again, I don't know it all. I just have ideas. I like to go different directions with these things. I like to study the mind of the customer and what goes on because I am a customer. And guess what? I go in and I say, listen, I'm not buying anything. Don't listen to this guy. Don't listen to that guy. But if he does a great job, it starts opening my mind. I go, let me pay attention. Everybody wants to new and improve. All right? So my sales professional, God bless you. This is Joe Pinero. Remember, go for it. No regrets. 2020, this is a year for you to explode. Remember, I'm going to be doing some coaching. We're going to be doing some seminars. Always continue your education to get better. This is like a muscle. You keep working it. All right? So God bless you. I'll see you soon. Talk to you, Joe Pinero. Success.